Welcome back to our practice assignment series. Today we're going to be doing drawing number 2.2, our chip spacer, so stay tuned. Alright, so today on our practice assignment series, we're going to be doing drawing 2.2, the chip spacer. I kind of took this drawing out of an old drafting book that was supposed to be used by hand, but it's all drawing lines. It said spacer and a chip spacer, and basically what I was thinking was like computer chips is kind of where my mind went. So if we jump on over into Onshape, you will see here's our drawing. This will be in the description. YouTube's changed things to where you can kind of make YouTube videos be a course, and by doing so, you can actually attach files onto it. So I've been playing with that a little bit. I know last week we had some issues. Some people couldn't find the drawing. It exists under, like, you'll have your description box, and then right next to it you'll have a like associated files. So I can throw all kinds of stuff on there. There is a way for me to do quizzes. However, I don't really want to throw multiple choice quizzes out there because then there's a 1 in 4 shot that you are actually getting it right, when I don't want to just throw those answers out there. So this drawing, again, let's break this thing down. If we zoom in, it's our chip spacer. I'm going to start adding something about our units. Our units are going to be in inches on this. I typically do inches, but I know I got a lot of you guys that aren't from the United States and do a lot in millimeters. So you're going to end up with kind of a wonky answer if you do it all in millimeters. Real easy fix, obviously, do your conversion, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page when we do this. So a couple of things to note. We're going to have some curves here, and those are tangential to one another. So I probably spelled that wrong now that I'm realizing it. I'll fix that before I post it. But right here, these two arcs are going to be tangential to one another. And if we look here, we have a total of 5 points. Let me zoom in a little bit. 5.6 at the top, overall 4.3, 6.5 on the bottom. And I kind of give you these measurements in a sort of a wonky way. And the reason I did that is this is how they were drawn in the book that I kind of did this in. It was in millimeters, and I kind of converted it into inches for this intermediate packet, because I want people to get some more than just, I know I'm used to giving whole number fractions. I say whole number fractions, it's kind of an oxymoron. But like 302, you're never going to really see that as on a tape measure, right? 2.85, I'm not going to find on a tape measure. I'm used to giving like 0.75, which is 3/4, or doing like 8/7", 16/7". I think sometimes I'll even go down to 30 seconds, but you're not really going to see those in what we do. But I'm trying to get you guys, teachers and students alike, to kind of understand that there's more out there than just what we're typically doing. So let's jump on into Onshape, and we will get started. All right, now that we are in Onshape, first thing we're going to do is start a sketch. I'm going to start on the front plane, Shift and S, N to normalize, and P to hide my planes. From that origin, I'm going to go up with a line. I'm going to go up 0.2. So you'll see we have that right there, our 0.2. Now I'm just kind of go up to the side and then draw a line over. And I know this is probably like a headache for a lot of you guys. You're like, I want to make sure that I have it 100% correct before I do it. And I get that. But also, we want to make sure that we have things aligned a certain way. So next thing I'm going to do is give this a dimension of 5.6. And that's going to go all the way out here, like so. This is messed up right here, but it will change as we put the rest of the geometry in. So I know it doesn't look like the picture right now, but it will, I promise. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line straight down. So L for line. I'm going to come down, and on this one, according to our drawing, it needs to be 4.3. So we end up with this shape like so. Next thing we're going to need to do is go out from here to the left, 1, not 11, fat fingers, 1.5. 4. And then we will come up, and I did give a measurement here of 2.85. And then over this way, I gave you a dimension, but I didn't, and we'll show you here in a second why we have to do this. Then I go up, and I'm just looking at my drawing. I go over, and actually to save us some time, I need to click there. Now, that is our shape, but that is not perfect. Okay, so this is where we need to add some constraints, and this is kind of how I wanted to do this drawing, is to kind of get the overall shape kind of fully defined, and then we'll tweak some more to it, adding some trims and stuff. So the dimension here, first off, this line needs to be horizontal. So I'm going to click it and press H, and we have now fixed that. What I need to do though, however, is from here to here, that needs to be 3.02. Let it do its thing. It's thinking, okay, so now we're getting that little bit bigger there. And from here to here, that needs to be, just double check my measurement, 0.6. So that's going to be 0.6 inches. And last but not least, you're like, well, that doesn't look the same. I need to click this line and where my origin is, and tell that needs to be 6.5. Now, that's one thing you got to pay attention to, is those dimensions. I kind of made them like that on purpose, 5.6 and 6.5. I apologize if you're dyslexic, but it's attention to detail, and it's little things like that that'll kind of trip you up in drawings. Okay, so we have our overall shape. Now we got to add those circles, and they need to be tangent to one another, those arcs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a circle right on here. And that circle has a radius of 0.22. So I can tell it, if I have a radius of 0.22, I would do 0.220, and then shift and 8 gives you your multiplication sign, times 2, and that gives me 0.44. And now I know that this circle has to always ride like so. Okay. Next thing, I need a circle, and I'm just going to draw this circle like here. I could use the tangent arc tool as well, but I like drawing circles and trimming. So this is going to be a circle that has a diameter. If it has a radius of 0.6, it's going to have a diameter of 0.6 times 2, so 1.2. And if I tangent that to there, because it needs to be tangential to the right side, and I also, before I do anything else with it, move it down and then tangent to the other circle, you'll see I can now trim out all of this stuff, because I don't need any of that. I can trim that corner, trim that top, and then come in and trim the rest of my pieces. Now, some of you might be wondering, you're like, well, why do I not have, it was fully defined and now it's not anymore? Okay. Well, we need to add some of those dimensions. By deleting those lines, we ended up getting rid of some of those dimensions. So if I say, hey, from here back to here is 5.6, it already has it because nothing's moved. This doesn't have the height overall of 4.3 anymore, even though it still does. And then you just have to tell these to be kind of fixed to one another. So we have that there. We can tell it to be tangent. I can say I went to that point. I can say that coincide's not going to help me. But if I've done everything I can just click them and press fix. I know some people swear by this, that if you press some of these constraints, you press fix, or if you take them and you move them, that's how you know you're not fully constrained. You're like, well, what the heck's going on? So this is how you can kind of fix that. This circle right here, the center point and the left side need to be horizontal to one another. So if we do that and say horizontal, that'll fix there. If we take this dot and say vertical to one another, that'll fix there. And now we are fully defined. Some of these drawings, when I first started learning, everybody tried to tell me to use a different constraint. That's what's going to help it. But it was tiny little things like that that actually helped you out in the long run and gave you a fully defined object, right? So I'm going to change some of these things. This is going to be 6.5 before I give you guys your answer. And this is going to be 11.6. Same idea. We'll change this to 0.7. And we'll give this 6.3. So we got the same general shape. Obviously we got a little more meat there, but to show you what's going on, I'm going to say okay. And right down here in the corner, you can't see it, I have an area of 35.314 inches squared. If you wanted to see it, you could also click the little tape measure, and that will bring up your measure window. Again, if I show you this with the zoom feature down here, I'm still blocking it. Well, you can click the measure tape and you will get your measure details. As long as it's a closed polygon, you should get an area. And so for this one, we got 35.314, which is the wrong answer. But you can still find your answer that way. So if you're doing this and you get the shape drawn correctly, let's change these back. This needs to be 4.3. This is 5.6. This is 0.2. And this is 6.5. Yeah, so we have that shape good. I didn't change anything else. And looking at it, I got the correct answer, which I should because I made it. So there is your shape, and that's how you do that. So that is PA 2.2, our chip spacer. Again, check down in the, not the comments, not the description, but right next to it, you'll have a part that says files, a little rectangle window, because I've turned all these into courses. I'm working on going back and doing the Onshape orientation and the other ones, like I said, how I did these ones. That way everything kind of matches. I might be changing some of the layout on some of these. And actually, one more thing I wanted to show you guys. We're going to have, what is the area of the final shape? We'll have our question down here. But I think I'm going to get rid of the what tools are needed, because I feel like in the intermediate level, you should already know most of the tools. And this is more about like how to use these tools in a more advanced kind of setting. So kind of treating these more like a puzzle based thing. I know a lot of you teachers have been asking me for, like, my kids have flown through your packet and I need more. So this is kind of a way to teach them, but then slow them down a little bit so they can, refine and hone those skills that they're learning over the years. So that's going to do it for us for this drawing. Actually, one more thing. I messed up the video last week. I had some issue with a music file or something, and I trimmed it, and then it ended up trimming my video I just saw today, trimmed it down to 13 seconds. So I am in the process of fixing that as we speak. So you'll get another new video posted tomorrow, which is the same one as last week, or today, I guess, whenever you watch this. And then you'll get this video as well. So you're going to get two. It's going to look like I put two out, but essentially I'm fixing the one from last week that I messed up. So that's going to do it for us for real this time. I will see you guys next week. Take care.